Now in Seattle News Tonight, new concerns about how local federal officials are keeping track of immigrants, and this time it's in the form of a text.
While protests were happening at the ICE office over the weekend in Tukwila, we're told that some immigrants were being summoned inside the offices for unexpected meetings with officials. Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman joining us now. Ali, you have a message that one immigrant received, and they received it over the weekend. What was the extent of that message, and why did they get it?
I mean, it was a very short synopsis, but again, this is one of those situations where in the midst of these protests, there was a lot of uncertainty. In fact, I spoke with one immigration attorney with LIH who says that these mass texts have been sent for at least the last 2 weeks, calling them alarming and out of the norm. This right here is that last minute text. Attorney Leslie Irizarry Hogan says her client received Friday. Take note, it is in Portuguese, but it asked the immigrant to report to the Seattle field office in Tukwila between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturday or Sunday. It makes it very clear that if folks don't show up, well, this is considered a violation. The attorney says they believe an individual who was in line ahead of her and her client may have been detained. Her client was released a few short minutes afterwards, but the attorney was suspicious because her client had just met with ICE for a regular appointment earlier in the week. The attorney told me today she was denied entry. This is something that she's never seen in her 20-year career.
So we're not talking about MS-13 gang members here illegally. So my question is, who was targeted and why? And I got a note from you that said there are 2 ways to get into ISAP, the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program. What is that and what are the ways?
I mean, first of all, let's address your first question. Who's being targeted and why? That's still very unclear, but I'm told that it's folks who have who have legal status to be in this country, whether they're asylum seekers or they may have applications in the works at this process, or, you know, just people who are already in the system.
Yeah, they're on the path to citizenship.
Yes, they are. But now talking about ISAP, well, this is that program that, in this case at least, we know that her client came in during the Biden administration when we saw that huge crisis down at the southern border. And then additionally, they also came in with the child. We know that these people were actually prioritized, and that's why they were entered into this program rather than being detained. But again, it also depends on what the administration's priorities are at the time. Or as Hannah, you and I talked about this a little bit, how are people who are entered into this program? It's because they may be a high stakes fugitive or they may be wanted.
Right.
So there are people that may be less likely to attend to hearings or any court proceedings.
And one thing to point out, though, is that a lot of people are paying attention across the country to this issue now. You talking about this program, I mean, this started even before Biden, right? This has been going on for years, but we're hearing about it more and more, and every time it plays out, you know, it impacts families, a lot of families in your local community. So how are people feeling about this? A lot of, you know, undocumented immigrants especially.
I mean, think about it. Most folks got this text on Friday. What do? You're summoned to appear on Saturday or Sunday. How do you arrange childcare at this point? So not only is it logistically hard for these people to come and attend and do what's asked of them, but then they're also, I'm told, that some of their children were actually with them. So imagine your child coming with you and witnessing and some of these families being separated, because this is just one instance where the client was released. We know that there's instances where some of them never came back out. And so the children are witnessing, and that was one question that I asked the attorney, you know, where do we go from here? Is it likely that some of these folks, if and when they receive the next text message to appear at a later date, will they come out and attend? Here's what they had to say.
The fear and chaos that this administration has been trying to create has been working. Many people who have legal options have canceled contracts with me. They have decided not to move forward out of fear. And it's these kinds of things that make people really scared to step out of the shadows. But I would like to note that these people who showed up for the texts are complying, right? They're under ISAP, most likely, and they're complying and they're showing up, right? They're following what they're supposed to do the right thing and legalize or file applications and follow the law so that they no longer have to be undocumented. And doing these things to create fear definitely affects people wanting to move forward or legalize or file anything with immigration.
Now, as of the hour, it's still unknown how many people have been detained. I did reach out to ICBP and ICE, but so far we have not heard back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Allie, and definitely keep us posted.